Welcome to the fifth Mascot, the definitive show about your Cincinnati Reds right here, right now on WCPO.com. Along with PG O'Keefe, I'm Ken Brew, and I said it, I predicted it over a month ago that this team would get red hot in the middle of July and make a run at the National League Central Division. And nobody on this show, nobody besides me, had the guts to say something like that. So I'm here to gloat today.
This is the new Ken Brew. We replaced the old Ken Brew with the new Ken Brew. We'd like you to get to know him. Very similar, in fact, twin brother, one would say.
I bow down to you.
Bull crap.
I bow down to you.
Bull crap.
In all sincerity, in your prognostication, in your vision, in your understanding of baseball.
Oh,
I bow down to you.
I do not ask such things, Ken. You had completely valid concerns. I had what we call in this business hope.
You had the voice of reason.
I had hope.
You not only had hope, you understood that this is a marathon, not a sprint. But the question begs, if it's the same group, then who are these guys? Because for the first 2 months, they were what? Nothing.
Yeah, and you could boil it down, and I've been saying this for a little while, and I don't mean to use this continually, but you could boil it down to health. You really can. I mean, yeah, you're right. They are the same guys. A couple of key players have returned to themselves, which has really been I think, the motivator and sort of the catalyst to all
had
this.
A body experience.
No, for real. I mean, Jay Bruce, when he came back, he looked like a guy on crutches with both legs and three casts.
Jack Bruce.
Yeah, Jack Bruce. There you go. Yeah, exactly. So now that he's come back around, and you know, even though we have Mr. Votto, who we'll talk about on the DL, it's a different atmosphere in that clubhouse. Everybody is back to health. They're excited. And they're going out there 100% every day rather than trying to scrounge through that difficult sort of under the weather time first 2 months.
But we, concerns right here about health with Hamilton and with Phillips, and we'll get into that.
Yes.
I think moving Bruce to first base might have, who knows what goes through the minds of a baseball player. But the fact of the matter is maybe it made him concentrate just a little bit more on a newer position, and therefore he carried that to the plate. They always say don't carry your bat to the field. Maybe he carried his glove to the plate because he seems to be a little more intense in concentrating on playing first base. Maybe it's helped him offensively.
And not that great at first place. I mean,
well, no, he's not a Gold Glover winner.
No. I mean, he's had his moments where he's done okay, but yeah, I think you're right. It's probably almost been a relief in some way because Jay's been able to not have to worry about being good because he's not expected to be good. I mean, out in right field, he is a Gold Glove, Silver Slugger candidate at that position and has been for the last couple of years. So I think you're onto something there. He just needed that little extra relief.
And I think the bullpen has performed better. Andrusic has been better. The starters continue to be as billed. Nobody seems to be getting stressed from a pitching standpoint. But yet we still saw, since our last visit, they had the one-hit loss in San Diego and the two-hit loss back home the next Friday night. So I'm excited about what they're doing. I think they have the best record in baseball since July the 1st.
Hottest team right now.
So
there's that baseball. Look at that
But
catch.
my point being is, let's see what happens after the Cubs leave town.
Definitely. A little bit of a roller coaster. And it sort of culminated with Votto bowing out, right?
They played better without him.
They did, and so we went through San Francisco, and that sweep was just unbelievable in the history books. Then we went to San Diego, and we sort of threw our hands up in the air and said, what the heck happened? And then Votto started to show signs of that gimpiness again. He goes out of the lineup. He goes on the DL 5 in a row later. So is Votto truly what's going to make or break this team's cohesiveness to put hits consistently back-to-back?
Well, it wasn't in 2012. If you recall, he went out there for a month and a half, and Ludwig had a tremendous run of it. I tend to think Joey Votto is doing two things right now, although I don't have the statistical evidence. Before he went on the DL, he was either walking or striking out.
Right.
And if you even look at that Friday night double that he had in the left field, he was surprised. You could just look at his demeanor at the plate. He was surprised that he hit the ball like that. I just think that they play better without him, and that in essence, he's a walk or a strikeout guy anymore. And this is all health driven. I get that. They're much better to do with him, I believe, if they would just say the same thing to him they said to Johnny Cueto 2 years ago. Goodbye. Get healthy. Don't come back until you're 100%. And if that's next April, great. But if not, and you think he can help us, fine. But just don't come back and say I'm 90%. Come back and say I'm 100%.
And that's a luxury the team has right now because of the way some of the other guys in the lineup are performing. Essentially, Todd Frazier is 2010 Joey Votto right now. A little bit less of an on-base percentage than Votto in that year, but he has absolutely replaced him. He has done everything that Votto would have done up until this point, both behind the plate and in the field, albeit at a different position. So that is a luxury that they have, but you still need to look at Votto as a catalyst for the rest of the lineup because there have been plenty of games where whichever starting pitcher it was, whether it was someone who was at the top of the league or the bottom of the league, they always knew where Votto was. And as a result of that, you saw them pitch to players ahead and behind in the lineup differently. You saw more fastballs. You saw more over the plate stuff. They weren't walking around guys, especially since Billy Hamilton's come on and Todd Frazier has settled into that number 2 spot. That's where I think his true value is for this team this year.
Which makes it, I know you got to move on, which makes it imperative, I think, that they make some sort of deal at the deadline to get another bat because they got to help themselves in left field if indeed Votto's going to be out for any appreciable amount of time. You then can play Frazier at first base. Okay, let's talk about Billy Hamilton. I think Billy Hamilton, to me, is the complete surprise. The first month of the season, he looked like it was his first day in long pants. Since then, he's been terrific. And power. That's the thing I don't think anybody counted on was power from this guy. His power numbers are unreal. Look at this. And look what he's hitting with runners in scoring position. A flawed stat, perhaps, because you got to get guys on to hit with runners in scoring position.
Yeah, I mean,
but that's pretty darn good.
Yeah, 27 RBIs in the leadoff position. That's something to write home about for a guy like Billy. And I will admit it, I was entirely skeptical of his ability to get on base because guys like D. Gordon, who actually he leads the league in stolen bases, not Billy Hamilton, and he has a much better caught stealing rate. But guys like D. Gordon have consistently an average around 300. He's on base once a game, guaranteed. With Billy, up until the last 3 or 4 weeks, you just never knew. And now he looks calm, he looks patient, and it's almost as if someone took him at the end of May and just turned him on his head and said, listen, wait for a curveball.
Right.
And he's done that. And you look at the majority of his hits, it's down the line right, down the line left, and it's great.
I think Mike Matheny made a major mistake. If you were limited to 4, let's just say that was his number of Reds that he was going to take. If you're limited to 4, I would have taken Billy Hamilton ahead of Devin Mesoraco. Because you got Molina. Okay, at most you're going to need. It's not what you want; it's what you need. At most you're going to need is 2 catchers in that game, and most of these games are 1-run games or 2-run games. So if you're tight at the end there, and you get the ability to get a runner on, you put Hamilton on first. He could be on third inside of 1 pitch. You're talking about winning the game. And all due respect to Mesoraco, who's got nice numbers, if you're limited to 4, I take Hamilton before I take Mesoraco.
You know, and I got to side with Matheny on this one for sort of that very opposite, or the very same reason, but for the opposite set of circumstances. D. Gordon is on that team, and he is that base stealing threat. He is the guy who can come in a pinch run situation should you need him. Take a look at the outfielders in the NL All-Star team. You can't deny any of these guys this year that position. Andrew McCutchen's an automatic All-Star every year. Carlos Gomez has proven time and time again in the field that he is just an incredible Gold Glover. Yasiel Puig will give it all regardless.
Right.
A couple of guys on the bench you could throw a question mark up about. Hunter Pence, who has had a fantastic year. He's batting over 300. He's on a great team. He's got great guys around him. And Charlie Blackmon is the Colorado Rockies outfielder who got selected over Billy Hamilton in that position. And you could definitely kind of flip a coin and see on which given day that Blackmon would get it versus Hamilton. But I think because D. Gordon was on that roster, that's why Matheny made that decision. That was a close one.
Was your name Soft Hands when you were in high school?
I wish. No, it was not. I will talk.
Let's talk about Reds All-Stars. We talked about Hamilton and Mesoraco.
Yes.
No question Frazier belongs there.
Absolutely.
I mean, and he's in the home run derby. I mean, if you look at Frazier's numbers this year, they're off the chart, really, really good. Did we do this? This is wonderful.
This is from our cartoonist, Kevin Necessary. He drew this one up.
It's a necessary element of the show.
It is a necessary element. This shows up weekly on CPO.com, WCPO.com. He does some good drawings for us. But yeah, these are our guys, and all deserved, right? But in our humble Queen City opinion, other than Billy Hamilton, there were a couple of snubs.
Well, Chapman goes. I've already
Yeah.
said my piece about Mesoraco, and then obviously you've got Cueto and you got Frazier. I don't think there's any question those 4 guys
Yes.
deserve it. But who are the snubs in your opinion? I talked about Hamilton. I thought, I mean, all due respect to Mesoraco and what D. Gordon could do. But who else besides Matt?
I got to give a nod to Jonathan Broxton. I understand that he
Two
was
nods. He weighs like 400 pounds.
maybe even 3 or 4.
Yeah.
I understand that he was on the DL for a little bit at the beginning of the season, but that guy has given up 2 runs all year.
Right.
That is incredible.
Right.
He is on record-breaking pace for a reliever.
Right.
Just because he's not in that closer spot, he hasn't quite gotten the exposure or recognition, but he deserves to be in that bullpen for when this National League team needs it most.
You know, the beauty about Broxton is when he's in the game, he's so slow that if you got to hit the head or get a beer or something, you can go in between pitches.
That's nice.
Because it's like 3 minutes in between pitches.
It's entertainment value
This
as well as
this game
professional.
could go to like 4 a.m. in the morning if he's on the mound. But I agree with you, Broxton. I mean, he's had a nice season, very good. I think Simon's had a nice season too.
Mm-hmm.
I think Simon still may get selected because you know how it goes with pitchers. They get to Sunday, some guys got a mysterious arm ailment, somebody pitched on Saturday and whatnot. But Simon leads the not the National League. He is tied for the Major League lead in wins. And he'll probably, if he keeps going down the road, get it because Tanaka, it looks like he's headed for surgery.
That's
so
right.
it's kind of like I don't understand that why that wasn't one of the Reds taken. Hey, I would have taken him ahead of Chapman.
Yeah, and that's certainly one side of it. I think that win stat is so deceiving, and I know you know this. It's a product of his run support. It's a product of who he goes up against. He was for a long time at the beginning of the season just the number 4, number 5 guy. They threw him out there against some of the weaker pitchers in the league, and so that number is deceiving. The 2.7 ERA is extremely respectable. Now you look at this roster. I was prepared for that one.
You saw it coming. It was telegraphed.
You look at that All-Star roster, there are a lot of guys on that lineup that come out of that bullpen that have ERAs that are actually lower than 2.7. So that one's a tough one to call. Hey, next up.
Where's our guy?
We've been a couple of weeks since the show.
Right.
And
he had to do his laundry.
Well, right, yeah. It took him, it's a lot of satin.
Right.
Satin's
2
not,
weeks.
you don't throw that in tumble.
You're not talking about one outfit.
No.
It's like 2 he's got to clean.
Yeah, this is hand wash stuff.
Yeah.
Our colleague, Mr. Satin, who will be joining us here shortly, went out and asked a very important question.
What's that?
The stadium that we have that will host the All-Star game in 2015, where does it stack up?
Against?
All other Red stadiums.
Which would be
Which
Riverfront?
would be Riverfront, Crosley,
Field, Palace of
the
the
Palace.
Fans, yes.
He went out and asked that question.
He found no one, I bet.
He
Palace
found
of the
no
Fans.
one. In fact, he
went to
focused.
Spring Grove for that.
He focused on Crosley Field in particular to find
good.
all of our. Well, let's take a look, Mr. Satin, and see what he found.
What's up? This is Mr. Satin with the 5th Mascot. We're down here at the ballpark, and this is what people remember about Crosley Field. All right, tell me, what is your fondest memory of Crosley Field?
I don't think I'm that old.
I'm not either. Best memory of Crosley Field?
Sitting behind columns.
Too many columns?
There's way too many columns.
Right.
No longer here, demolished, right?
Crosley Field. Give me your fondest memories.
I'm not that old though, but
Or even Riverfront.
getting to see the Sammy Sosa hop. He had a home run at Riverfront. We were right behind home plate, and it was amazing. You know, as soon as he hopped, I was like, it's gone.
I don't remember Crosley Field. Way before me, dude.
Do you have a fond memory of Crosley Field?
My sister went there all the time. Okay. Oh, she was crazy about Johnny Vandermeer. She would ride the bus to ride the streetcar to get down to the game.
Telegraph machine?
Yeah, could have been, yes. Alexander Graham Bell was there, I think. Greatest, fondest memory of Crosley Field, that old ballpark. We're doing a segment on that.
That predates me, Crosley Field. I'm at Riverfront Stadium, the AstroTurf. I can remember sitting in the center field when Eric Davis hit the 11th inning home run after Chili Davis tied in the 9th.
What's your guys' favorite memory of Crosley Field? You know Crosley Field.
We phone in the scores via Morse code.
Yes, I think the final score was doot, 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 doot. What's your fondest Crosley Field memory?
Crosley Field, he hasn't been there. I've been there. Jim the Peanut Man always stood out front all the time and sold his peanuts out there. So Jim the Peanut Man was out front selling his peanuts. And one of the guys that had a little bit too much to drink at the brewery bought the whole bushel basket he had out front. He took the basket in with all the guys. They sat in the bleachers. Underneath was newspaper, and the peanuts were only about that far on top of the basket. So they kind of got took us. So.
I'm making this up as I go along.
Go Reds!
Mr. Satin joins us now after his foray on the street. So you found what? One guy that remembered, two people that remembered Crosley Field.
Yeah.
A dying
Two and a
breed.
half. Yeah.
I mean, it is a dying breed, but I mean, all the memories there. They weren't at this game yesterday or the past week. That's all right, though. You know, I mean, honest question.
The All-Star game was, what, 38 at Crosley Field? Is that what it was?
1938, you got it.
And there were a number of luminaries there. Leo DeRocher played in that game.
Leo DeRocher.
Who once he married some Hollywood celebrity, some Hollywood starlet.
Which was a big deal back then.
It's a big deal right now.
Joe DiMaggio, of course.
There it
also,
is.
There you go. There's
so they had 38 and 53. I remember the 53 not. But I remember that they played the game here in 1970, and I remember that game very, very well. I think a lot of people do remember the 70 game more than that.
What about when they turned the lights on? 35. First ballpark to do that ever, right?
Right. May 24th.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
There was rumors that you were covering that game. Is that not true?
Me?
Yeah.
May 24th, 1935 was 17 years to the year before I was born.
Oh, okay, all right.
On that date. So you can give me a
All
gift
right.
next year.
That's a secret.
Gotcha.
But the 70 game was kind of cool because obviously for the Rose incident. Oh, you know what I saw? This was great. I had Steve Walter on Sports of All Sorts on Sunday night, and he had Rose's ring from 1970 and all that. But he had a mailgram.
Wow.
The impact of a telegram at a fraction of the price. He had a mailgram on the day that he broke Ty Cobb's record from Ray Fosse congratulating him. So what was that? That's like 15 years, 16 years after the incident.
Framed, absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah,
but they had the two games. The 70 game was obviously the Rose incident and the collision hole plate. The 88 game was, I think Whitey Herzog managed the National League Stars that year, and he selected Chris Sabo was on the team. And he wouldn't play Sabo. He put him into pinch run finally, like in the 6th or 7th inning. I remember. And everybody was screaming for the dude, and they wouldn't put him in.
Yeah,
it's the old ashtray on the river right there it was called, right?
That's
Is that
right.
what you call it?
That's what's rumored as.
Yeah. You know why? You know, because who owned the
Because
team?
of old Margie.
Hi, honey. How are you?
Margie.
How are you,
she
honey?
filled that up, Billy.
That's just Shotzi's way of telling you he loves you. You know.
Yeah, and you know, all those nostalgic moments are great, and those stadiums were fantastic. But I have to say that I can't live without the modernness and the open feel of Great American. I think it's just one of the best stadiums in the league. It's well organized, not a bad seat in the house.
Yeah.
It's affordable.
It's going to be. I think it's going to be kind of. I really think what's going to be kind of neat about this game is because it is a bandbox. I think that home run derby next year. You might see some guys just put it. If Dunn could put it over the sun deck, they might be able to put. They might be able to put it the same place. Some of those guys might be able. I mean, if you got Bautista or Encarnacion, you throw gopher ball. Frazier, you throw some gopher balls to those dudes, they could put it over the stands.
They're going to be breaking some scoreboards.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll be out there in a kayak or something, you know, like in San Francisco.
That's a piece.
Get out there. That would be.
That's a piece.
Little satin in the river.
That river will be filled.
You mentioned Frazier's involved in the home run derby this year, which I think is kind of cool. I mean, I didn't see that coming, but I mean
low fastball.
That's pretty cool. But I mean, and when he gets there, can he keep up? We got a picture, don't we?
Todd Frazier. This is not his first All-Star game appearance.
Oh.
No.
Although the stats read as such, there was a time, another All-Star Todd Frazier.
Nice.
There he is. This is after winning the Little League World Series. 12 years ago? 14 years ago?
I'd say about 14. I think it was 98 or 99.
He met with Mr. Jeter, ran out to shortstop. They do the whole kids thing next to the All-Stars. And actually, I think him and Jeter even exchanged a little bit of a Twitter conversation about this.
Yeah, it's funny. That'll be kind of cool coming up next Tuesday night if the two of them actually do get to, pose together and all that.
It would be nice.
And good for Frazier, too. I mean, obviously, Jeter is at the end of his, end of a rope. But
I hope so, man.
But I mean, Frazier's kind of like hitting his stride, so that's kind of like a little synergy there.
Yeah, it'll be good. The one thing I hope, and because this historically happens to home run derby competitors, is they go so nuts and alter their swings so much for this particular competition that when they come back after the All-Star break, all the power is gone. All the momentum and the rhythm is gone.
Did that happen to Josh Hamilton?
I think it did.
Did it happen to him when he did
that when he was what was that?
Was it Yankee Stadium?
Yeah.
The final game at Yankee Stadium.
Yeah, I think it did. He was one victim of that. This has happened to a lot of guys, and even if it's not for the next 3 months afterward, it's at least noticeable in the interim, a couple of weeks where he's just out of whack. And so I hope that Todd and he's by no means, a golf swinger anyways, trying to hit balls out of the park. So hopefully he sticks to that and plays himself. But I do worry about
I think his brother is throwing to him, isn't he?
Yeah, one of his brothers. Yeah, I got to bring this up. When I was a kid, what about Jack Armstrong? Remember that?
The All-American boy.
Oh man, he had all those. He had like 13, 14 wins.
Oh, he started the All-Star game in Chicago at Wrigley Field.
Oh man, whatever happened to that guy?
You know what happened to him? He tried. I know this I'm on my radio show like about 5 years ago.
Oh, wow.
He was trying to come back with
Yeah.
the Newark Bears in that independent league.
Yeah.
Too bad.
I think his biggest problem, frankly, was his attitude. I just think he just kind of like he had a little moxie going that just didn't set well with some people. But he was the first pitcher, and he may be the only one, but I think there are others. The first pitcher I ever saw warm up for a game by throwing a football.
Nice.
Like
really?
40 yards, just like that, to
yeah.
throw
And
a
that's
football.
common now. Guys do that
Yeah.
fairly frequently. I've
Yeah.
seen that a bunch. Okay, so
awesome.
so does Frazier have a shot? I mean, does he really have a shot
To win the home run derby?
Winning the home run derby?
No.
No?
No.
Of course he does. He's there.
Who's he up against?
They might be. Hey, like you said, restroom breaks.
Could-
Maybe a guy misses a turn.
Right.
He gets up there.
I don't think that. But who? No, seriously, who's he up against?
Brian Dozier, who's a Minnesota Twins
Yeah.
second baseman,
Knows
got
the park.
16 home runs. Yasiel Puig, who
Yeah.
has some pop to him.
Yeah.
Has some pop to him. We got Adam Jones, who we know can hit home
Hit the
runs
home
for the
runs, yeah.
Orioles. Giancarlo Stanton, who is arguably one of the strongest
Yeah.
players in the
He's a
league,
beast.
he can hit it, especially in Great
I've
American
seen
Ballpark.
Frazier hit some one-armed home runs though. So I mean, I think can he keep up with the big boys? Sure, but I don't think he can win this thing. I'd be surprised if he did.
I want to
Yanis,
see him call a shot. He just gets up there and he's like ground out there.
yeah, and the
First
big guy
base.
really who you got to be worried about, Yanis Cespedes. I mean, he's another.
I worry about him all the time.
Well, not an arm.
Well, I'm eating breakfast in the morning. I
Well,
worry
you
about.
should be.
Might not
Balls
have
just
enough
come
food if
through
he
the
shows
window.
up.
Yeah, that would be bad.
No.
He'll get you. Although surprisingly, he's only listed at 5'10", 210. Yanis Cespedes.
Wow.
In all his girth, 5'10", 210.
5'10".
That just doesn't seem that big to me.
By the way, do we have a piece of video that we're supposed to show on the show?
Well,
I want to see this.
I
Doctored
personally,
video.
Personally, personally, I am not a home run hitter.
No,
But
at one time you were on steroids, apparently.
well, that was for Poison Oak. I had to get rid of it.
Right.
But I do
All their CDs.
I do claim as being able to keep up with some of the All-Stars, in particular Mr. Aroldis Chapman. I went out to a pitch simulator in Westchester,
Yeah.
and this is legitimate video.
Okay. Beware of this.
This is a
look at this.
100-mile-an-hour fastball.
Hall of Mirrors right
and
here.
I am batting, and this is I swear to you, a single to right field.
Got the GoPro.
You saw it come off the bat.
Yeah.
That was a 100-mile-an-hour fastball.
Wow.
Slowed down halftime.
When did you start the swing?
Wait a minute.
When was?
Can we see this
legitimate.
again?
Totally legitimate.
Wait a minute. Stand
is-
by. Wait, hold on one
Where's the
second.
ball?
Yeah, no, where's the batter?
I am right below the camera.
GoPro?
Yeah,
action?
okay, yeah. This is worse than the Zapruder film. You can't.
I'm telling you.
Where are
I'm
you?
telling you.
Are we
That was
supposed to
me.
think that's you because
That
we
was
saw a
me.
freckle right there. What's
That's
going on?
yes. You see, look.
Where?
Here, compare. Well, watch the arm.
Oh, let's see
And we'll
here.
compare the arm. There, I'll see that.
Oh,
yeah,
man,
and
You look
and-
like you were
Tell you what.
defending yourself.
Here it is. No, that was it. Look at that
They were ready to
similarity.
joust.
You see it?
Undocumented.
You
You
look
see
like a
the
knight ready
similarity?
to joust.
Yeah.
You know what?
Spread
That's
some butter right there.
That's what you
Some
have
toast.
to do for Chapman fastballs. They
Yes,
are not
man.
easy. Everybody says that, right? Everybody says, "Oh my gosh, 100-mile-an-hour fastball."
Were there
That's-
witnesses
that's-
to this?
There were. Yes, there
we
were
get them on the
in that
show?
whole
I
years right
can
there.
go grab them. Yes, they may deny it just to humiliate me, but people always say it's really hard to hit under a mile fastball. But I can tell you, having been in front of one, you almost don't see it. So it's so much of a greater appreciation. And for those of you lucky enough to ever sat down in the diamond seats or right along, the dugout right in the first or third base side, you get to see it up close firsthand. But man, it is
it is.
an experience.
I'll tell you, my favorite Chapman story was before he actually played for the Reds. When he was in the organization, it was his first year, and he's pitching an intra-squad game out in Goodyear, Arizona, and the intra-squad, Frazier is batting against him, and he throws a 103-mile-an-hour fastball and hits Frazier on the inside of the knee, and Frazier goes down like Frazier. And the next day, he was good about it. The next day, his knee is the side of Rhode Island. And I just said, and he was just like, he was laughing about it. 2 days later, they play the Royals in an exhibition game. And I'm sitting down there, and the Royal batters are just walking back they're going like this, and they're going, holy crow, what's this all about? So yeah, it is. If you get a chance to sit down low whenever he's pitching, it's an experience you'll never forget.
That smack on that leather.
And it won't be
Hitting
like
the
some
catcher's
simulator in Westchester where we apparently had you.
I'm not saying there were any sliders.
Are you buying this?
I'm not
I don't
saying
know.
there were
It's-
any change-ups. It was straight
We
fastballs.
need witnesses.
And that may have been one of
May have been.
30 pitches that
Right.
came my way,
Right.
but that's
Right.
a minor leaguer's stats. I could make
There
it.
have been players on this team that have gone 1 for 30 this year.
That's
so,
true.
so-
Zach Cozart for a time.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of the minor league, a quick Corky Miller update.
Oh, yes.
Uh-oh. What's happening with this guy?
Corky off the
best,
DL.
my best friend. Corky has returned to the team.
Yeah,
He hasn't played too much. Checking out his stats now.
yeah.
And yeah, he's back on the bench, but he's still kind of sitting in the sidelines. We wish Corky the best.
We
wanna-
do
wanna
wish
see you
Corky.
on the
Yeah.
show.
I want to get, can we Skype him in maybe? next week?
I've been reaching out to Corky a couple times. I've been trying to get him on here. I know he's a busy guy down
I
there
wonder
in
if he knows
Louisville.
Skype. Do you think he knows Skype?
I would hope Corky knows Skype.
Everybody knows Skype.
Everybody knows Skype. Skype's a good guy.
We should ask anybody if they'd like to Skype in. They can Skype in.
He's a left hand. Yeah, you guys. Yes, please. I mean, if we
Caught that left-handed.
that's why I just wanted to point that out.
Oh,
Ambidextrous, something. No, I'm not. Yeah, Skype us. We can Skype. Go ahead and tweet at us. Hashtag Fifth Mascot. FIFTH
I love
MASCOT.
it. I love it.
And let us know your thoughts. What's your favorite Red Stadium? Hey, Goodyear Ballpark. There's a dang nice stadium, albeit not that big.
No, it's very nice.
But it's beautiful
Very
out
nice.
there. It is absolutely beautiful.
All right, what do we got coming up this week? We got the Buccos in town Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then the All-Star break. Monday is Home Run Derby. Tuesday is the game itself. You know, I mean, the Red Legs were 2.5 out going into Thursday afternoon's game.
Wow.
2.5.
I mean, you just
2.5.
just think about this.
Marty, we love you, Marty.
Just think about this. If they get within like a game and a half, let's say they just cut into that lead just one more. Now the good news is they're cutting into the Brewers' lead. The bad news is the Cardinals are cutting into it too. So they're neck and neck with St. Louis.
Yes.
But you can't worry about it. You got to worry about them. If they get to within a game and a half at the break, I think that changes everything with the way they look at what to do at the break. The big rumor out there again now this week is Josh Willingham. Maybe the Reds are looking to do a deal with the Twins to get Willingham. That I think would be huge. That goes back to what I said before. You get another bat in left field. All of a sudden, you have a bat in left field. You've got Ludwig out there. You've got Schumacher there. You got Frazier at third, who can then slide over to first. I don't know what flexibility that gives them at third base if Frazier has to do that, but I do know it's a heck of a lot better having Josh Willingham coming off the bench than what they got coming off the bench right now.
That's true, and you got to look at what's the long-term impact of Votto. This really couldn't have come at a better time, right? With a week off in the middle of all.
I don't
this.
think we're going to see him for a while.
And I don't think so either. But it's a good way to take a step back, reevaluate, truly take a break from baseball, and look at it from a long-term perspective. Because if this team finishes out before the break, and say they're even closer than a game and a half,
I like that.
Here we go.
do they make a trade when the
Yes.
trade deadline comes up?
Absolutely.
We're going to
Time.
talk about
Let's
that a
do
little
it.
bit more next week
On?
on the Fifth Mascot. Thursdays, 2 p.m., WCPO.com.
Yes.
Love Mr.
There it
Satin.
is.
Only here.
Right there.
We'll
Mr.
be
Satin
back.
was so big this week.
So
on it.
big.
Yeah.
Crosley
Actually
Field.
found
Week.
2.5 people that remembered Crosley Field.
2.5.
Who was the half person?
3.
Oh, the little kid was
little
kind of
kid.
Yeah.
was there.
Read it in history books.
The one old lady was like, my sister was there. I mean, that counts.
Right, the sister wasn't there, but she was there. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, she's like, my sister was there. That's
We'll
great.
see you,
That
folks.
works. That's great.
Join us next Thursday.
Yeah.
We'll talk trade deadline on the Fifth Mascot.